Do less and don't stress. This is one of the things that I've had to learn the hard way. One of those things that's taken me years to understand and to comprehend properly. It's something that to this day I still have trouble following at times. But it's also something that is more powerful than you think. Because when you look around, look at 5 of the people that you have around you, you'll see they're stressed, aren't they? They're trying to do more. They're trying to do so much. Their heads filled with all of these open loops, all of these tasks, the needs of daily life, all the things that they have to do. They're constantly scrolling on TikTok, constantly scrolling on their phones, watching YouTube, watching the news. Everything around them is overstimulating them. And what's happening? Are they getting further ahead because of that? They're not. They're slowly burning themselves. They're slowly burning themselves out because they don't slow down. They don't recover. They keep constantly being in a stressed state, day after day after day, year after year. They don't move forward. And I was feeling the same way the other weekend. I was lacking sleep to begin with. I was exhausted because I'd been working really hard. I had all of these thoughts running in my head, all of these ideas, the things that I needed to do, the things that I wanted to do, everything all at once. I was also overstimulated because I was scrolling on Instagram and TikTok and watching YouTube and never letting my brain have a break, never allowing myself to slow down and try to do less. Because, at least for me, what I usually do when I feel exhausted is that instead of actually doing something that helps me recover, like go for a walk or read a book, do something that's lower in stimulation, you try to shut your brain off by watching YouTube, kind of mindlessly. But does it really help you recover? No, it does not. It only serves to overstimulate you more. Have your brain now just having your own thoughts, but having the thoughts of other people in your own head. So you're basically, imagine you have a box. That box is filled with screaming little kids' toys that are moving around, shuffling everything like a mess. And what do you do when you have that mess? Instead of starting to take some of those toys out or like empty the box, you try to cram more in there. You try to stuff it full of even more just chaos, essentially. That's how I have a tendency of recovering. Smartly enough, this is also something that has taken me a few years to understand what it is that I've been doing to myself. And it's easier said than done not to default to this type of behavior, but I'm getting better at it. And I'm learning that maybe sometimes it's better to shut the screens off and read a book instead of scrolling TikTok and, I don't know, doing something that gives me even more stimulation. But anyway, so the other weekend when I was feeling this way, when I was feeling overstimulated, I actually had the thought of, what if I keep going? What happens if I keep overstimulating myself? What's gonna happen if I keep trying to force the things into the box when that box is already overflowing with things? Well, I'm probably not gonna feel recovered. I'm probably not gonna make much progress, and I'm probably not gonna feel good on Monday when I need to go back to work. And this is one of the hardest things to understand or to at least take action on in the right way. Because it's so easy when you're in that state of sort of stressed. You're like, you don't feel stressed, but you can tell that your mind won't slow down. You can tell that your mind, you can't hold on to a thought for more than a few seconds until it escapes and something else pops up. You sort of have this like slot machine spinning in front of you, and it's just thoughts, and you're like constantly cranking that handle, and it's like thought here, thought there, and you're trying to hit the bingo to get, all three in line, but that doesn't really happen, and you keep wasting money, you keep wasting energy on all of the thoughts that's rolling in front of you, right? You keep betting your energy on that this will work. If I just spin the wheel one more time, I'll finally hit the jackpot, and I'll be able to focus and get work done and do good shit. But what happens? You spin the wheel, you lose again, and you have even less energy now because you've just tossed your focus out to the first thought that popped up in your head, and you keep switching every single minute, every single second almost. And so this is why doing less can sometimes actually be more productive, because instead of spinning the slot machine, what if you take a step back and you look at your bank account and you go, okay, I'm already broke. Maybe I need to earn some money back before I go gambling again. And how do you gain money back into your account when we look at energy and focus? Usually, the biggest thing is sleep. If you don't sleep enough, you won't have enough energy. You won't be able to gamble, essentially. you have nothing in the bank account. And going to sleep is like getting your paycheck, so to speak. So if you don't get your paycheck in full, you don't have enough money to gamble some of it away. All you have to do is pay your bills, and then the money's gone, right? So sleep is the biggest thing. That's your paycheck. Then you have other activities that are lower intensity and less stimulating, like reading books or going on a walk outside. Things like these, like, they don't feel good when you first do them or when you have to convince yourself to start. That's the hardest part. But once you come back, you've taken some fresh air, you've stopped scrolling for 2 seconds, your brain feels clearer. I'm like, what's the analogy that I can make here? You've stopped spending so much money on Netflix and fast food and the other things. You've minimized your spending on unnecessary things. So now you have even more money to gamble with. Yes, very nice. So that's doing lower intensity things. And then just eliminating the high stimulation things, like TikTok, like Instagram, scrolling on Reels, all of these fast food for your brain, essentially. When you step away from that, that's when you really you keep all the money in the bank account, right? You stop spending your money on every single thing that you scroll by, right? Like, you spend a little bit each and every time that you scroll. So once you stop, you'll start to feel wealthier. You'll start to feel that you have more money left over at the end of the month. You have more money to gamble, and you might actually have a higher chance of hitting the jackpot, of being able to focus. I know these analogies may not be the best things ever, but you know. So, elimination is like the first thing you need to do. You need to stop emptying your bank account at the first day of getting your salary. You need to slow that down so that you have enough money, and then you spend it slowly on one thing at a time. Because once you spend your money on one thing, you can have more of it. You can have way more on a single thing if you don't spend all your money on the small things, on the reels, on TikTok, on everything that you're wasting time and effort and energy on, right? So essentially, doing less and having less stress all comes down to a choice. It all comes down to, how do I gain more money in the bank account? As in, how do I gain more energy every day? By sleeping more, by recovering, by doing things that are good for us. And how do I minimize my wasted effort, my wasted energy? How do I stop the money from leaking out of the account? By scrolling less on TikTok, by watching less reels, by maybe turning off notifications on your phone so that you hear the ding or the buzz and then you pick your phone up and then you've wasted a bit of energy on the notification that really did not serve you too much. So yeah, and another thing that I wrote down in my notes is that, how do you feel if you keep going once you're stressed already? Because if you're already in that state where your mind is rushing, you can't hold on to a thought for more than 5 seconds. You can't manage to do the thing that you actually need to do for more than 2 seconds before your phone dings or you start scrolling or what have you. You're essentially like a cab driver in rush hour traffic with 3 flat tires and a screaming toddler in the backseat. That's essentially how your life's gonna feel if you keep doing the same thing that you've always been doing once you feel that way. So you're gonna feel worse than if you actually stopped, took a second to reflect on, what is it that I'm putting my energy into, and how do I maximize the energy that I have every day? That's what you have to ask yourself. Do you want to do you want to be the cab driver, or do you want to be more calm? Do you want to have more energy, better focus, and just feel that little bit better every day? It's completely up to you, but I'm just sharing some of the things that I've tried and that has worked for me. So, yeah. Anyway, thank you for watching. I'll talk to you in the next one.